What? Oh shit, it's live. Okay, hide. Here, you gotta hide. Hello there. Glad I could join you for Din Din. What are you having for Din Din? I gotta share this on Twitter. Twitter. Everyone be sure to make a Twitter account as soon as you can. Isn't it funny how, like, skulls... Like, anytime you want to make something scary, just add a skull to it. Like, who chose skulls? Like, I get that it represents death, but... Why didn't they choose, like... Maybe, like, an ear. You know, a severed ear. Or perhaps the scrot. A disembodied scrotum. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas for new horror concepts that elicit primal sensations. But we're gonna have to change evolution just a little bit. Scrotophobia. What if someone named their YouTube channel Scrotophobia? I'm like, what's that? What does that mean? It's fear of the scrot. They're absolutely hysterical. Yeah, coconut chicken for dinner. Hell yeah, that sounds fucking ballin' as shit. Vamos a salir. What did you just say to me? What did you just say? How am I doing, Jolie Poly? I'm good. I feel what some would call in the biz super duper. David De La Rosa with a 5 says, hi, Joel, have an awesome new year. Thank you, Mr. David. As always, good to see ya. Andrew Tate got arrested for human trafficking after beefing with Greta Thunberg. What a day. I know, that was really weird. It was like strange timing. You never know. Maybe she pulled some strings. No, but I heard that the Romanian government, he was long wanted for something of the nature of trafficking people, which is like, what the fuck? What the fuck? See, I would never do such a thing. I would traffic, like, cookie dough, something like that, with diamonds in it. But, I don't know, I've heard the Romanian government is not the best when it comes to trying those types of things, so you'll probably see his dumbass back on fucking Twitter in a day or 3. How absolutely dare you? That would have been funny if that was her response instead of the email. Which, what a strange email, by the way. Come on. Got some ice cream about to get baked with Joel. Let's go. I had some apple cobbler more recently with a little bit of peanut butter ice cream. Shit was fire to the extreme. Shame so many YouTubers were his fans. Well, I just, like, that was always the question in my mind. I'm like, first off, who the fuck is this guy? And I remember hearing about I think you guys talked about it in here, or just that started my curiosity as to, like, human trafficking and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck's that all about? And I heard that he, like, ran some type of webcam girl thing, which I imagine you would probably have to have people to do that, you know what I mean? So it's like, and especially in like Eastern Europe, it's kind of some shady bullshit always going over there. I don't know. What a fucking strange character. Texan Toe with the 10. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you. I had my last Christmas tree. Your last Christmas tree? That sounds like a dystopian novel right there. Ready to write. It's 3:25. It is 10:25 here, so you must be 5 hours ahead. I guess you're in the UK, little Tex. Hanging out in, oh shit, 1 second. Ooh, 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 Snuck up on me there, Chrisella, with the 30 twerkable amounts. Thank you, my friend. And if you do have a message, please do share that holiday cheer. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Also, what is your profile picture? Every time I look at it, it looks a little bit like a space helmet. But I feel like I'm also seeing maybe like a crystal ball of sorts. I can't quite make it out. What's up, Ashley? My holidays so far have been good. Yeah, honestly, it's been a solid day. You know, Mitt got to go on a little waltz with me mother earlier. She has off of work this week, so that has been an absolute pleasure. You know, just went for a W, as they call it in the biz. We do that so as not to alert the dogs. Reese's Cup, not last ever Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is very abstract art. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, you had a Reese's Cup tree. I see. Your last ever. Are they banning those? Are those banned in your state? I am not surprised. We are in need of all Buttersock generals to the front line. Lord Joel is about to begin. Dude, if I had generals in my army, I would make them sing. I would have them... Every general has to be a lead in the choir. They have to earn their way through song. And then when they're in battle, they have to, like, sing the whole time. I guess generals don't battle anymore, do they? I mean, I guess they put their dues in. But eventually you get to a general and it's just sort of like, I don't know, what do? You're just looking at... You just wargaming all day. Looking at intel. Look at me, twice in 1 week. I'm here before you start. Hell yeah, Casey. You must be hitting that there notification bell. Where are the extra thick chicks at? Ephraim? You got some splaining to do. No, they're gone until next year here. Oh, I'm sure you could get some on sale. I think even at the one place I saw some, they even had like some Halloween jack-o'-lantern Reese's still out. And sadly, they were still kind of expensive. It was like $1 a fucking Reese's, and I'm like, that's bullshit. They delegate, yeah. I guess that's what you earned if you make it to the top. Apparently they found heavy metals in Hershey's chocolate, which I found out while eating a Hershey's bar. That's awesome. I mean, I'm sure you test anywhere, you're going to find heavy metals in some shit, especially consumable goods. I guess it just depends on how many parts per million and how frequently. But I mean, I guess if it's... You know how, like, they find one, just a little bit of salmonella, and you gotta call the herd. Someone doesn't want to get sick in a mass production type scenario. Big whoop. We'll just microwave it. You must be hitting that bell. What color is Pradeep? He's black. A very midnight black. Currently not here. He's probably up somewhere warm. Remember Flint, Michigan? I remember Flint, Michigan. How's their water situation treating them? You work at a chocolate factory. I can't believe how much they want for chocolate. Yeah, what's the going rate now? With inflation and supply and blah blah blah. What's up, Danny Dreadful? What's going on? What do I got against thick chicks? I have nothing against thick chicks. In fact, I think someone in this chat was hoping that they would all report to the front lines, because they are going to be generals in this army. I got way too many Harry and David gift baskets with wine this year. I'm going to go from now to the New Year's. Drinky drink, hell yeah. Good peevening. What's up, Oxy Schmoxy? What it do, bro, from Atlanta, GA. Georgia. What do it do? What do it really do, though? I want to get a shirt that says that. What do it really do, though? And say you had like some type of creature that was like a Smurf and it was called a Dudo. And then you could say, what do the Dudo do, dough? I have no. Turtles here. It's the whole motherfucking gang. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'm the wolf, and you're the sheep. You need one of those shirts. You're looking at the wolf. You're looking at the lead wolf lion of the pack. I'm in charge of my pride. My wolf pack pride. What the Dudo doing? Do re mi fa sol la te do. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Hot cross motherfucking buns. Things are marketed by the price people will pay, and it's gradually increased for more profit. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's one thing I thought was interesting about like COVID stuff is like, you know, they can sit there and say, well, the supply chain, but like, I feel like that's sort of a way to like fudge numbers as well, upward, and an upward trend, so that you can just charge whatever the fuck you want. And hey, if people are willing to pay it, that is the perceived value of said good. Similar to, you know, Beats headphones. Like the amount of people that had Beats headphones, I mean, it's fine, but it's like, bro, just get some Bose or some Sennheisers or some shit if you really want some sick ass headies. I heard chocolate has roach bits in it. It better. I heard M&Ms. Yeah, I heard the M&M shells are made of beetle exoskeleton. But I'm like, where did they get all those different colored beetles? Those poor creatures. Barbara Sandweiss from Evil Dead is my older cousin, but I've never met her. Image search her in my photo. We are like twins. Alright, let me look it up. Barbara Sandweiss. Barbara Sand. Look up Sonic Inflation. Wait, am I supposed to type Evil Dead? Evil Fred. Oh, she was a zombie? Or what was she? I don't remember her, to be honest with you. I guess I only saw that movie one time. Do I watch any anime? You know, from time to time. I definitely watched a lot more in the past. But I catch different things here and there. Are you guys watching any anime lately? Peanut butter has live rats in it. Yeah, every time I'm scooping out like peanut butter for my favorite peanut butter and apples snack, you do like a big scoop and then you look and you're like, there's a fucking rat head staring you right in the eyes. And it's going, I'm like, oh, that's normal. I put it on an apple slice and just... Every scoop, another rat head. Have I seen One Piece? The One Piece is real. No, I've seen the memes though. Attack on Titan. I made it about 4 episodes into Attack on Titan. I just like, when I watch stuff, I like need people to watch it with, otherwise my mind starts to wander. Even though I did finish The Boys, and then I finished Invincible. So Invincible was kind of like an anime, an American anime. You watched Bullet Train last night. How was that, Oxy? Yeah, it's extra protein. Rat brain. I guess you could pickle the rat head and probably go down pretty quick. Have you read The Shining back when Stephen King was on drugs? His books were the best. You know, I was going through The Shining audiobook and I made it decently far, but it was just like, once it started getting past the parts that were like directly from the movie, I don't know. I like lost interest in, like, they kept sort of digging into the backstory, but I'm kind of sick of, like, you know, a main character, he has his flaws, but then you go, you know, and he drinks a little bit too much, but then you go back, you know, then you go and find out why he's human. But I always find it interesting, like when it comes to writers, they get to a point where they go back so far in a character's history that eventually, like at least with, you know, Mr. Torrance's father, his father was a abusive drunk, right? That's usually like always a typical backstory for certain things. Sorry, is this music too loud? But like there's no redeeming qualities for that abusive drunk, you know, dad. And maybe his description of that abusive drunk dad is sort of you know, a hyperbolic representation of the character, the way that Mr. Torrance, you know, remembers the character, and so therefore you remember it as well. But I guess I would argue against that as well, because, you know, the way Stephen King sort of describes most of his characters is as if he knows everything about them already, you know what I mean? Like he's God in their universe and is describing them, like perfectly recollecting their troubled past. So, I don't know. Kubrick wore it better. I would say, I mean, The Shining on the movie was definitely more palpable in my mind, but granted, I guess it was a movie. What do I think about the new Avatar movie? I haven't seen it yet. I do kind of want to see it. I was talking to Robin. He said he saw it, and he said it was really good, the effects, and he says, you got to see it in 3D, baby. 3D. You got to see it in IMAX 3D. You got to buy an IMAX projector for your house. You got to do it. Are you Yodi gang? I don't know. Does that involve yodeling? Yodeling. Inuyasha is your favorite anime? I did watch a lot of Inuyasha, but like when I was younger, because it would come on Adult Swim a lot. But I guess with Inuyasha, I thought it was interesting, but I always like had no idea what was going on because I was always catching random episodes. I just knew the guy had demon doggy ears. He was kind of like an otherkin of the past. 3D hurts you. It's because it's real. It's not 3D. It literally reaches out and grabs you. Oh shit, it's reading time. That blew by pretty quick, huh? Well, guys, thanks for being here. Click the likey like button. Hi, everyone. Sending love from Scotland. Fucking Scotland. Hell yeah. It's always nice to see where everybody's from. Just like random. It's just like such a strange thing. All over Earth. Once again, that was the Snowfall Fields Dreamy Lo-Fi Beats on the Dream Hop Music YouTube channel. Be sure to give them a subscribe over there and support the artists. Gotta love it. And we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 New Year's stories. Bringing in 2023. Hopefully it's the best year ever. Where am I from? I am from Pennsylvania. Listen to your podcast on a long drive to New Orleans to spend Christmas with the family. Been listening to the channel since the beginning. Love you the most, non-creepy way possible. No, I appreciate it. You guys are more than welcome to love me in a normal way, and you're more than welcome to like me in the creepy way. I'm used to it. If you watched Inuyasha, you gotta watch Yashahime or Yashahime or Yashahime. All right, friends. Once again, thanks for being here. Click the share button, click like, all that good stuff. And Miss Molly, welcome back for 3 freaking years. 3 years, what the fuck? Joel, my love, how are you? How were your holidays? Mine were good. And I think I may get my tattoo in April. I'm so pumped. Love you. Love you too, Miss Molly. Good to see you. 3 years fucking flies by fast. Damn. Time do be following. Can we follow your Insta? Yeah, absolutely. It's at letsread.official. You can find me on the Insta Slam. My impatient 9-year-old boy with ADHD sat through Way of Water and was glued to the screen. He loved it. That's pretty cool. That's good to hear. That'd probably keep my attention then. Hanny Dreams. What's going on? All right. Already feeling my nose begin to stuff with fluff. I'm so stuffed with fluff. I'm gonna show my old... Fuck. I'm gonna show... What are you gonna show? My old age. Oh, shit. I gotta clear out my microphone real quick. Oh, wait, maybe I don't. New Year resolution? I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me think of one. You like me in the creepy way? Good, good. That's the only way I like it. I'm going to be showing my age, but back in the late 70s, me and my college buddies developed a long-standing tradition. Every New Year's Eve, we'd head up into the hills of a state park that overlooked our cozy little college town, and we watched the fireworks with a few beers and some smokes. I mean, why watch just one firework display up close with a bunch of campus cops around when you could walk up into the hills and do whatever you wanted while you watched all of them? So, this was New Year's Eve of 1978, and instead of your usual deal of having a designated driver, we decided to camp out near the overlook so we could all get blackout drunk after watching the fireworks. The night goes well, and we all have a great time. Then we climb into our sleeping bags around 3 or 4 in the morning. The next thing I know, I'm awake, it's daylight, and I was definitely still half drunk because the hangover hadn't kicked in yet, and I needed to use the bathroom so bad that it honestly felt like I was about to rupture something. I put my boots on, climb out of my tent, then head off into the trees to find somewhere private that I could lean up against a tree. You see, I didn't just have to pee, I needed to drop the kids off the pool to soda. Dude, also I didn't realize, you guys might have noticed, but in some of my videos more recently that say, you know, click the join button for exclusive content. I didn't realize there was some type of glitch. And it like kind of makes like a sound like right after that finishes, and I'm like, fuck, I need to fix that, but I'm not exactly sure how, but I'll definitely be more aware of it next time. I found your channel recently and I feel very happy to be in a live. Yeah, hello, Hollow Gas, good to see you. What do I think of Junji Ito's work? I like it. I like it a lot. I like anything that, you know, popularizes horror things. And I think Junji did quite the job there. Hello, my name is Junji. I watched Where the Crawdads Sing recently. It was super good, but I did shed a slight tear at the end. 1 or 2 tears. A bit of moisture from the eye. You see, I didn't just have to pee. I needed to drop the kids off at the pool, so to speak. So, it wasn't just I... Wait. So, it wasn't just I could just find... What is it saying? So, it wasn't just I could just find... Oh, like I... So, it wasn't just like I could find any old tree to pee against. I needed something sturdy and somewhere very, very private. I didn't walk too far, only about 100 yards or so into the woods, but I soon found somewhere suitable, so I dropped my pants, leaned up against a tree trunk, and started doing my business. I remember my biggest fear being someone following me to take pictures or something crazy like that. It's stupid and gross, I know, but we were college kids who just so happened to own a Polaroid camera, so trust me when I say that that was a clear and present danger at the time. So I got my head on a swivel, as much as I could manage while taking a dump anyway, so my eyes are glued to the horizon the whole time. So much so that I didn't even notice what was crawling through the dirt towards me. I only noticed it there when I felt this light tickling on my left leg. I casually looked down, and it's a very good thing I didn't just reach down and scratch. And to my absolute horror, a giant centipede was in the process of transitioning from one of my rolled down pant legs to my actual skin. The biggest native centipedes in Alabama are what we call blue centipedes, and they can get quite large, but only inflict a minor bite, so while they're super creepy, they're not the ones you have to worry about. And the bad news was, whatever was crawling up my leg was sure... You thought the noise thing was on purpose to scare us a little? I thought that too. I was like, maybe that, but at the same time, like, if I had to hear that in my headphones, I'd be like, fuck this shit. I get annoyed with noisy memes. And the bad news was, whatever was crawling up my leg was not a blue. It was at least 7 inches long, brown in color, with yellow legs and an immense head with these huge, gnarly-looking fangs. I'm no expert on bugs, but I knew enough about the outdoors to know that this was an invasive species from way further south than Alabama. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know their bits are insane. Oops. Centipedes, yeah, centipedes are gross as fuck. But I kind of like the big ones because they're like slower, but at the same time I feel like they would also like climb in my butthole or something weird. They're freaks, I'll tell you that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know their bits are hideously Their bits? What am I doing? I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know their bites are hideously painful. Non-fatal, of course, but then as it started to climb my leg, it got closer and closer to part of me that I definitely didn't want to be painfully swollen. That thought had me frozen with fear as I watched the thing creeping up my leg, and I swear my vision got dark around the peripheries as I got to the verge of passing out. I had to control my breathing just to stay conscious, and I realized that I was faced with 2 options. One, I could smack the thing off and risk being bitten, or I could stay as still as possible and hope the thing just worked its way back down or onto my jacket so I could swipe at the thing without risking my bare flesh. Only problem was, the thing was in the process of crawling up my thigh, and before long, it was crawling over my unmentionables. I'd missed the window to stop it from crawling there, so all I had left was just to keep still and think happy thoughts and pray it didn't think my junk was food. I honestly think my heart stopped for like 25 seconds or so. I was clinically dead, sitting bare-bottomed on a log, just waiting for a little passenger to decide that it was time to get off of me. Somehow, I managed to find it in me to keep still as a statue the entire time, but then considering the alternative, it's little wonder that I was able to. It was that, or endure hours of mind-bending pain from multiple bites, not to mention permanent psychological damage, and maybe even sterility too. Honestly, I think if I somehow lost track of the thing, what does it say? I used to keep mealworms too. You would eat mealworms just for a little snacky, just in your front pocket next to your pocket protector. I found a centipede today in my sink. Thankfully, it was a small one. Sorry, one second. What's up, Brandon? My junk is food. It certainly is. Scrumptious. Oh my god. I'm seeing that pop up before the sound, but Chrisella, thank you for 20 gifted memberships to the Buttersock Cult. Welcome, Amy Morris. Hope I'm saying that right. John Joe, Michelle D, Oxy, Carlos, Rowdy, Ashley McCann, Pandanese, YR, Kira J, Joss Sauce, Carla Becker, Ashley Montoya, Lilith, Lovely Dovey Bunny, Mir Spellman, Attack This Titan, Z, Fallen, and Monica Umama. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult, my friends. You now have access to bonus content, and I do believe that I kind of have to get the next bonus content out soon. Maybe I will stream on Saturday. If I ain't got nothing going on, maybe I'll just do a big stream where I'm streaming Monday's videos, Monday's stories with whatever we got going for that, plus the bonus content. But be sure to thank Chrisella for their kind donation when you get a chance. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Joel sniffs and my fiance asks if he's doing coke. I know everybody always asks if I'm doing cocaine, which I guess might make sense because sometimes I sniff and I get a little excitable. But no, I'm like down here in my fucking neckbeard basement, and I get a little verklempt in the sinuses. How many stories? Yeah, well, this is 1 of 7, so we're just getting started here. I can't believe it's almost 2023. I know. The last stream of 2022. Maybe not, though. Or, yeah, I guess that day, the 31st. We shall see. I'm new to this, but what does it mean when they're gifted a membership? Yeah, so there's like... memberships are kind of like Twitch subscriptions where you get like special emotes and things like that. I'm not exactly sure what else that gives you on Twitch, but at least on YouTube, you actually get access to bonus content. There's like a bonus content playlist that then you can, if you check the playlist, you can get access. There's over 15 videos now, which is pretty dope, and continuing to grow. It's gonna keep mischievous dogging, yeah. The endless mischievous dog. Mischievous snog. Wonder. Mischievous dog. I don't even think I can. Well, it's all good. I like the sound. Do a special stream on New Year's Eve. I might just. Mischievous dog. But thank you again, Chrisella. Joel gets all plemmed up, I know. I think it's like just a combination of talking, and then I kind of just recently ate, and then like also, you know, Pradeep's poo particles in the air. Videos that I don't put on the main channel, correct, yeah, so these are like bonus content. There's a lot of good stuff on there, honestly. Should definitely. I think you can actually check the playlist and see what's on there. You just might not be able to watch it until. But yeah, if anybody does want to become a member, there's a little join button. It's $5 hairs a month. But you can also go on Patreon and do it too and get it over there. But on Patreon you get the $1 tier. They don't have that on YouTube, where it's early access to the audio. If you read more of the 411 books, because I read 4 of them and they're amazing. We'll have to look more into the 411 topic. I know it was a popular video here recently. Mischievous dog. It was that, or endure hours of mind-bending pain from multiple bites, not to mention permanent psychological damage, maybe even sterility too. Honestly, I think I'd somehow lost track of the thing if I had... my bad. Honestly, I think if I had somehow lost track of the thing, if I hadn't physically watched it crawling off of me, I'd probably still be sitting there all these years later, wondering where in God's name it had gotten to. Thanks to some kind of divine intervention, the centipede seemed totally uninterested in my twig and berries and continued harmlessly down my other leg until it finally found the dirt again. I actually could have tried to smack it off my pants once its head was firmly on the fabric, but I realized that in doing so I'd probably topple off the log. Falling backward would mean that I'd be covered in my own excrement, but falling forward, I'd be laying right on top of an angry, bitey centipede, completely bare-bottomed. As it crawled off, I think I waited at least a minute or two before I could find the balls to wipe and pull my pants up. I was terrified that it was going to double back and try to go for me again, but thank God it didn't. It just slipped off into the woods, never to be seen again. I was still shaking by the time I walked back into the camp, and I must have been white as a sheet too, because the guys who were awake immediately recognized that something was wrong with me. There were 2 beers left over from the night before. Just 2 out of what must have been 50 to 60, and I drank them both. One after the other before I lit up a smoke. The guys laughed when I told them what happened, the nervous variety at first, but then genuine once they realized that nothing but a bug had gotten me so scared. Their words, by the way, nothing but a bug, but I think we all knew that if it was them instead of me, they'd have been just as terrified. It was literally weeks before I could sit down on anything without thoroughly inspecting it, and only in clean rooms with minimalist furniture. The whole experience. I used to listen to Being Scared till I found him. Yeah, you should still listen to Mr. Being Scared. He's got some big videos. What's the story of Mischievous Dog? It's from our beloved friend Dylan from Dylan is Chillin', aka Chills. And I just always thought it was really funny. Mischievous Dog. The whole experience actually gave me a kind of complex, and even these days I find myself inspecting inspecting what? Shit, sorry. The whole experience actually gave me a kind of complex, and even these days I found myself inspecting toilet bowls before I sit down on them. Even just the mention of centipedes these days make my skin crawl, and if you guys knew how long it took me to write this, I'd be thoroughly embarrassed. But no matter how tame a story this might seem to some, who aren't nearly as squeamish over bugs as I am, I can honestly say that it made for the most terrifying few moments of my entire life. Sorry, I just like... Alright, a bug story. A bug's tale. Chills, my beloved. I've only seen the little bright ones that are only like 1.5 inch long. Usually under logs and stuff. I saw one the same size as my wiener crawling up my leg. I'd be shook. Yeah, that would be a bit much. You'd have to wonder if it's there to mate with said wiener. You were here Tuesday. What's up, Beast Kid? Good to see you back. Welcome. Hey, Joel, do you have any veteran stories coming out soon? You know, it's hard to say. Sometimes I have someone who kind of compiles a lot of this stuff for me from my emails and Reddit and stuff. But hopefully soon. Hey, Joel, love your Visit podcast. Keep up the great content, bro. Thank you, Cool Breeze. Good to see you. Why not bring back older videos that got taken off a few years ago and put them in the bonus content? I actually did do that for the Deep Web video, because I really wanted to make a Deep Web, content one, but that one was taken down in the past, so I was able to kind of get things squared away with that, and then sort of remastered the audio for that one. Yeah, we need to get to me to 1 million subs. But what happens after 1 million subs? Do I get forgotten about? Is that the end of the journey? Do I shrivel up into a ball and die? Hopefully. Many years ago, I was the lone state trooper stationed in a little Texas town smack bang in the middle of nowhere. When I say I was in the middle of nowhere, I mean it. The closest city was just short of 100 miles away, and aside from a tiny collection of homes and small businesses, it was just dirt, dust, and rock for miles upon miles around. On the night in question, it was New Year's Eve. I was on call, so that meant that I wasn't allowed to drink any alcohol. And good thing I didn't too, because at around 3 a.m., my work phone rings, meaning that I'm about to be called into action. I answer the call, and on the other end is our sweet old dispatcher, Mary Ann, who tells me that there's a car wreck west of Lakeville. Who tells me that there's a car wreck west of Lakeview. Why can't I say that right? Who tells me there's a car wreck west of... Just sounds weird. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Who tells me that there's a car wreck west of Lakeview at the intersection 658. Car wrecks always shoot up at around New Year's Eve for obvious reasons, and I was told that US 287 and I-40 were so bad with drunk drivers that every other unit was on those two stretches of highway. As a result, I was being called into service, so I crawled out of bed, told my wife where I was going, then put on my uniform, and after throwing on some extra layers, I headed out the door. Whoever said it was always hot in Texas obviously had never been to the Panhandle. When I walked out the front door, it was this nasty. Back in action, baby. When I walked out the front door, it was this nasty mix of snow and hail, with little bits of ice bouncing off of my hat and shoulders as I walked towards my 1987 Ford Mustang. Now, those familiar with the model will know how much of a dream it was to drive in a place like the Southeast. It hugged dry asphalt like a magnet, had incredible speed and handling, and it was almost like it was solely designed to serve as a high-speed pursuit vehicle for the country's drier and dustier regions. But those familiar with the model will also be able to tell you it's basically a 225 horsepower ice skate. It looked like a freaking igloo by the time I laid eyes on it, and after breaking the ice off the door handle and keyhole, I had to literally bang on the door to get it open. It cracks and pops as I pull it open, and then I climb into the driver's seat and bring the engine to life. Now, any other time, I'd get a warm, fuzzy feeling whenever I hear that old V8 rumbling. But since I knew that she was going to handle like a seal on ice, I wasn't nearly so enthusiastic. This is back before every car out there had a little computer on the dash telling you your route, the temperature, and the freaking football scores. So, I had to call check. I can't tell if they're saying. I had to call check 10-8 with this. Hey, Shanus. Thank you for the 5 gifters. Appreciate you. Welcome Savannah Johnston, Jay Gomez, Roger Ramjet, Julia Kyomi, and Manny Castillo. to the Buttersock Cult. You guys now have access to bonus content. Be sure to thank Shanus for their kind donation. Thank you again. Is there a true crime story? I'm not sure yet. Well, we might get to one. We'll have to see. So I had to call check 10-8 with dispatch and ask for the temperature. It was 12 degrees. 12. So then right as I'm wondering why I had moved to Florida 10 years... So right as I'm wondering why I had moved to Florida... I thought they were in Texas. I'm confused. I guess the panhandle, does it connect to Texas or some shit? Unless I don't understand. Yeah, I have no fucking clue. How long you been streaming? We've been going. I actually have no idea where you even check that. Oh, 47 minutes. There it is. Moved from Texas to Florida. It was 12 degrees, 12, so right then as I'm wondering why I had moved. Maybe from Florida? Whatever. I'll say from Florida. I guess it makes sense. The Panhandle. It was 12 degrees. 12. So right then as I'm wondering why I had moved from Florida 10 years prior, I set off towards the rest... Fucking Christ. It was 12 degrees. 12. So right then as I'm wondering why I had moved from Florida 10 years prior, I set off towards the wreck west of Lakeview. It took 25 minutes to get to the next little town that was just 12 miles away, but then as I'm idling through it, trying not to slide on the ice, I see a man standing next to a telephone pole who starts frantically flagging me down. He's wearing a long black overcoat and a black woolen hat, and he's so covered up to protect against the... I like your narration of true crime, Joel. You should do a second channel just of true crime. I'd like to. I just need to find, like, someone, like an editor, to just, take my old true crime stuff and just, like, turn it into, like, smaller designated videos. And can do that, like, just quickly. You know what I mean? Like, efficiently. And it's still, like, as interesting and stuff. Horror on the Rocks with the 20. Bacarina says, pop, lock, and drop it as soon as you will soon. Pop, lock, and drop it as you soon will slide into getting the 1 million subs you deserve, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Thank you, Horror on the Rocks. Appreciate the big 20. I know. You know what? I think we're looking pretty geared up for the summer for 1 million subs, so it's gonna be sick. He's wearing a long black overcoat and black hat, and he's so covered up to protect against the cold that I can barely see his face. I also only realized how tall he was once I was out of the car. He couldn't have been an inch under 6'8", and when he spoke, his voice sounded incredibly creepy. I guess he had some kind of problem with his voice box or something. Like, there's no way it could have been a medical condition, so I kind of feel... I guess he had some kind of problem with his voice box or something. Like, there's no way it couldn't have been a medical condition, so I kind of feel bad calling it creepy, but I can promise you, his voice sounded so raspy that it was like a corpse talking. He told me how glad he was. Sorry, guy, I don't even know how to make this more efficient. He told me how glad he was to see me, and how he was the guy who had been in the wreck. It turns out he walked 3 miles into the nearest town to make the emergency call and was just about to start walking back when I rolled through town. I offer him a ride back to his car, and he slides his huge frame into the passenger seat. Mustangs aren't made for NBA players, and I'm not kidding when I say that his knees are way... So confused with the story. So far, I think we're good. We're in Texas. He's responding to a call. And then some guy who was in the wreck and called it in was walking towards town. Do I ever listen to Mike from Sword and Scale? I don't think so. Is that the guy who says, "It will kill"? You can barely hear anything. You're in the subway right now. Nice. Man, saying I fall asleep to you nightly is probably not so great. No, I don't think so. I think that's good. I think you'll find a lot of people here with similar experiences. Mustangs aren't made for NBA players, and I'm not kidding when I say that this guy's knees are way up near his head. It takes about 8 minutes to get to the scene 3 miles out of town, and as we arrive at the intersection, I see a Chevy Suburban lying upside down in the field next to the road. I check out at the scene with dispatch, then exit the car and start carefully making my way towards the Suburban. There's a downhill slope to the wreck, so I have to get low and find my center of gravity as I slide off the edge while using my hand as a rudder. I slide almost all the way to the Chevy, then as I get to the slide, I turn on my... God damn it, why am I struggling with this? I turn on my light... I don't even know. Abnormally large knees. How do you flip a Suburban? I don't know. I guess you drive it off of a road that makes you flip it, I guess. I don't know. I remember back in the day with those Firestone tires with those SUVs. It would show them pop and the whole fucking car is just flipping around as all the dummy bodies are flying out of it. I slide almost all the way to the Chevy, then as I get to the side, I turn on my light and write the tag number down. By this point, the wind had completely laid down and it was eerily quiet except for the ice cracking and popping underneath my boots. Bearing in mind, I was under the impression that tall, creepy guy was completely alone because if he wasn't, surely he would have said something by now. So, imagine the absolute terror that I felt when I turned my light towards the big window that stretches across the back of a Suburban, and my light illuminates a 90-year-old dead woman pressed up against the glass, wrapped in a white sheet except for her face. I dropped my light and stumbled backwards, almost falling as this ice-cold electric shock of fear shot up my spine. I might have yellowed out. It's like blacking out, but not as bad. It's when you drink too much piss. I might have yelled out also, I can't quite remember. But the point is, you never get over seeing a body like that, no matter how long you've served or how often you've seen them. My adrenaline is pumping as I reach for my sidearm, looking back towards the Mustang to see the tall man still sitting there, calm and still. My mind is racing and I'm terrified that I've been lured into some kind of ambush by this psycho. Did he want to show his kill off to me before he did the same to me? Or did this woman die in the crash and he just neglected to tell me? Either or. I'm just taking. Either/or. I'm not taking any. Oh, I see. Either or. I'm not taking any chances. I unstrapped the SW-357 Magnum at my S&W. Oh, Smith & Wesson. Hey, Carly, welcome back for a whole year. And the Buttersock Call says, whoop whoop, 12 whole months. And still loving every moment of Joel and my Buttersock Call family and sister wives. Thank you, Carly. Good to see you. What's crappin'? And welcome back for a whole year. How do you know it was a 90-year-old woman? I guess it said it was showing her face, so maybe you just kind of like took a guesstimate as to her being way older or something. I don't know. I unstrapped the 357 Magnum at my side and eased it up a couple of inches as I stare at the dark from in my car. I decided to take one more look at the body before I put the guy on the ground and arrest him. Now, retrieving my light, I light up the window again, and I see that the old woman is strapped to a gurney. And that's when I realize that something else is going on, because even at the most messed up murder scenes, no one uses an actual gurney to transport bodies around, definitely not in full view of a window either. Itching to find out what in God's name was going on, I walk up the hill to my car, open the door, and ask Mr. Creepy what he was doing when he wrecked. He informs me that he's a mortician and was transporting a body. I ask him if he doesn't think I could have used that information earlier, and he gets a shocked look on his face before he starts apologizing like crazy. He claimed he was so shaken up from the crash that it completely sipped his mind. He claimed he was so shaken up from the crash that it completely slipped his mind and that he didn't even know. Oh, fucking Christ. Mr. Creepy. There's a YouTube channel name for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to Mr. Creepy. He claimed he was so shaken up from the crash that it completely slipped his mind. And that he had... Oh, 1 second. This slipped my mind too. It slipped out of my ass. D Shore with a $33 says, "You so smart. What did I do? What did I do that was so smart to earn such a twerkable amount? Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you as always." Not really able to chat because the internet at my parents' house keeps going out, but just wanted to say Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Elvis. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good time at the Rents. He claimed he was so shaken up from the crash that it completely slipped his mind, and that he hadn't even known that the body was on display. I was furious, I'm not gonna lie, but the guy was obviously pretty shaken up, so I had to just bite my tongue and be as professional as possible, even though I did want to whoop his butt some. EMTs were nowhere near close enough, so when another unit showed up to deal with the wreck, I drove the guy over to the hospital to get checked out. He apologized the whole way, but I'd let it go by the time we got to the hospital. I made it clear that I almost shot the guy, and to always tell a cop everything they might need to know, especially when there's corpses involved. It made for the craziest shift I worked all year, and it happened only 3 hours into the year itself. Thankfully, nothing else topped it that year, and I had a good long time before I had to go through something like that again, but I guess that's a story for another time. Alright. I don't mind, like, those stories are good in the sense of, like, you know, they're definitely creepy and they're written well, but I'm not like a huge fan of just like where you think it's going to be something, like you think it's going to be one thing and then it turns out to just be like a false alarm. like with the bug and with the, dead bodies and stuff like that. That is creepy for sure, and unsettling and uncomfortable probably for the person, but I don't know. It sort of feels like a blue balling experience, I feel like, for some. Oh, here's a true crime story. Someone was asking about that. The twerking music stuck in your head. Now you're twerking all night. She's my second rescue dog. I can really only handle one dog at a time. I'd love to give a dog a second chance at a good home. Oh, that's nice. What kind of dog you got? Oh, you brought your rescue dog up to meet them. Oh, that's fun. Grand dogs. After graduating from Flagstaff's Northern Arizona University, 41-year-old Benjamin Anderson found himself drawn to the bright lights and late nights of Las Vegas, the city of sin. After working as a personal assistant for several years, Ben returned to his hometown of Phoenix before gaining employment as the manager at After working as a personal assistant for several years, Ben returned to his hometown of Phoenix before gaining employment as the manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers, an accounting company located in downtown Phoenix. Friends described him as being a generous and helpful person, a man who would go out of his way to help someone who needed it, no matter what that help entailed. He maintained an active social life, although he preferred quieter, more cozy venues to raucous crowds, and was only an occasional drinker. One friend later mentioned how Ben's life was one of quiet service and how he made daily checks on his mother and aunt to ensure that they had everything they needed. Yet cultivating a tranquil, drama-free existence was what made it all the more shocking when Ben's life was so tragically and suddenly snuffed out towards the end of last year. On the morning of New Year's Eve, 2021, Benjamin planned to have breakfast with a friend named Daniel Stohovic. Oh, this is pretty recent. Interesting. Anybody familiar with this shit? Stohoviak. Let's see. Let me look how this is. Sorry, let me... Hey, Maven with the 20 Canadians says, Happy Holidays, Joel. As the year is coming to a close, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the amazing content. All the best. Thank you, Maven. Thank you. Appreciate that. I know, it is kind of wild. Somebody commented earlier that, I don't know, I appreciate it. They're like, if anybody deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award with YouTube, that's Joel. And I was like, fuck yeah. Goddamn right. 8 years, that's a fucking lifetime on YouTube. To somehow maintain a presence. But thank you again, Maven. Thank you. Oh, Joel Holly is an American Staffordshire Terrier mix, in case you missed. Okay, so it's kind of like a... Was it like a rescue from like Georgia, or like, you know, like a dog fighting situation? Stahoviak. Daniel Stahoviak. I'm gonna go with that, I guess. On the morning of New Year's Eve 2021, Benjamin planned to have breakfast with a friend named Daniel Stahoviak. Their meeting had been arranged for 9:30 a.m., but around 8 that morning, Ben canceled the breakfast. He claimed to have spent the previous evening drinking with friends and planned to spend the day recuperating in bed. Later that day, Daniel attempted to call the hungover Benjamin in order to check up on him, but Ben failed to answer his phone. Assuming that he was either asleep or hugging his toilet, Daniel let his friend be for a few hours, then called back at around 6:30 p.m. When Ben once again failed to answer his phone, Daniel drove over to Ben's house near 7th Street and Maryland Avenue, but upon his arrival, no one appeared to be home. However, Daniel also noticed the absence of Ben's car, meaning he'd most likely gone out somewhere and couldn't answer calls because he was driving. Daniel later said that although nothing appeared amiss, a bad feeling lingered in his gut as he headed back to his car. He idled in the driver's seat for a minute or two, then decided to peer through a window or two just to make sure that everything was okay. After peering through Ben's windows proved fruitless. That sounded weird. After peering through Ben's windows proved fruitless, Daniel decided to check in the front door and was confused to find it unlocked. Benjamin was a very careful and safety-conscious person, so it wasn't like him to leave his home unlocked, even if he was horribly hungover. It also wasn't like Ben to leave his cash and credit cards strewn around the kitchen, and extremely out of character to leave a wet towel lying on his unmade bed. Daniel realized that something might be very, very wrong with his dear friend and rushed to raise the alarm with Ben's friends and family. And by 7:30 p.m., a report had been filed with the Phoenix Police Department, and Benjamin was officially declared missing. The police used the chip in Benjamin's Lexus to track its location, and it was soon determined to be at the Super 8 motel off of the I-17. Police officers rushed to apprehend it, but found that it had already moved on by the time they got there. Witnesses stated that a carload of people had climbed in and out of the Lexus, meaning at least 4 or 5 individuals were now traveling in Ben's car after he planned to spend the day alone. Daniel then deduced that Ben's car must still be near the I-17, so he and his friends decided to check other hotels along its exits. At the turn of the new year, while their loved ones celebrated, Daniel and a handful of Ben's friends were busy searching for his missing car. Around 20 minutes after midnight, Ben's friends entered the parking garage of the Sheraton Phoenix Crescent Hotel off of the I-17 in Dunlap. They slowly traveled the floors of the parking garage, keeping their eyes open for a white Lexus. Once they got on the 3rd floor, they spotted it. Ben's car was backed into a parking space, with 3 strangers standing around it. Once it was described as being of... Whoops. I sound so good, thank you. I'm trying my best. Hanny, you feeling a little loopy? You've been sipping on the old sinner's sauce? Let's smash that like button. There should be touch screens. Oh wait, they have those. If you have a touch screen, I need you to hit that like button until it cracks. Just kidding. Hey, Bakugo's Explosion. What's crappin', my friend? Joel, been a while since I've been able to catch your live streams because I have to go to sleep early for work, but there's no work for these 2 weeks. Hell to the yes. Time for a nice little breaky break. One was described as being of average height, with dark curly hair and a pale complexion. Another individual was described as a tall blonde female wearing a pink beanie. Before the friends could get a better look at the third individual, the trio climbed back into the Benz. Pretty good. I'm doing good too, yeah. Went and saw Puss in Boots 2 with my nephews and me mum My kid's mom and I snuck in whiskey to add to our sodas. Still a bit drunk. It's all good. It's all good. Was it good? I heard it was better than Avatar. Before the friends could get a better look at the third individual, the trio climbed back into Ben's Lexus and drove off. Daniel decided to follow the car and did so until the Lexus veered through lanes of traffic until it was moving against the flow. Faced with such a perilous situation, Ben's friends ceased their pursuit, and to their frustration, the car's tracking chip was disabled shortly afterwards. A few hours later, Ben's car was discovered in the parking lot of a UEI college located adjacent to the Sheraton where it was spotted earlier. It had been completely burned out, leaving only the metal frame and a scattering of half-scorched belongings. The absence of Daniel's body gave them hope, but it was tragically misplaced, because little did they know, a body had been discovered around noon the previous day. The corpse showed signs of extensive torture, with the coroner's report using words like grisly and brutal to describe what had surely been an intentional homicide. The corpse had to be identified using dental records, and even then, it was difficult to process due to the extensive damage. But finally, when the results came back, it was the news that no one wanted to hear. The corpse of the man who'd suffered through hell. The corpse of the man who'd suffered through hell. I can't say that right. Suffered through hell. He be suffering through hell. The corpse of the man who'd suffered through hell before finally expiring belonged to Benjamin Anderson. As the weeks went by, the investigation into Ben's murder began to flounder, and before long, the case was in danger of being cold. Wait, did the start of the story call him Benjamin Anderson? I guess it did. I don't know why. Maybe I forgot them saying it. Haven't seen Avatar 2. Through hell. He's been through hell. As the weeks went by, the investigation into Ben's murder began to flounder, and before long, the case was in danger of going cold. Police are still actively working the case, and Daniel has put up $10,000 of his own money as a reward for any information which leads to the arrest of Ben's killers. Daniel has also voiced his frustration at the perceived lack of policeman hours being devoted to the investigation. Quote, "We're urging them to do their jobs," Daniel said, referring to local law enforcement. "We were going out into very dangerous neighborhoods on our own, searching for Daniel. They told us we shouldn't be going to places like that, and we said, if you won't, then we will." Retired NYPD Sergeant Joseph Giacalone. I can't know how do you say this guy's name. Giacalone. Ah, fuck. It's a mafia family. Hey, Miss Janet 64, welcome to the Buttersock Cult, my friend. Thank you so much for joining. You have access to bonus content. How's it spelled? Here, let me put it in chat. Maybe you guys can. I did find a little documentary about a family. Sorry. Wait, Giacalone? Oh, really? Tony Jack, as he was known, was brokering a peace deal. Giacalone. Okay, sorry, thank you for that. Giacalone. Retired NYPD Sergeant Joseph Giacalone seemed to echo the sentiment, stating that, quote, "Unfortunately, Benjamin's friends did better police work than the police. It shouldn't have taken finding the burned-out car for this case to take on a sense of urgency. He had many clues that this missing persons case was involuntary, but still the relevant authorities failed to act." Daniel Stachowiak. Daniel Stachowiak had his own theories about what happened to Ben that day, and they tend to revolve around the idea that Daniel lent a hand to the wrong person, possibly even someone who took advantage of his good nature in order to rob or extort him. Those in possession of his car that day were obviously wise to the fact that they were being followed, evidenced by their evasive maneuvers and swift destruction of the car once they realized Daniel was tailing them. The key to unlocking this particular case evidently lies in identifying the suspects, but even with detailed security camera footage on hand, the police have failed to locate or apprehend them. Many unanswered questions remain regarding Benjamin's murder, most of which revolve around the identities of those believed to be his killer. Did Ben know these people prior to his death, or did they lull him into a false sense of security using some kind of fraudulent internet profile? Catfishing has become a major problem for those seeking love and friendship online, and it's entirely possible that Ben's killers managed to get very close to him before they struck. There's also the question of why the police haven't released images of the suspects to the general public. These images are high quality, high definition, and have high potential to progress the investigation. A member of the public could quite easily ID one of the suspects based on one of these images, so why the delay in releasing them? If you happen to be a resident of Phoenix, Arizona, and have any information that might contribute to Ben's killers facing justice, contacts, Jesus fuck. I just end it there. I end the story there. Oh, fuck. I don't really like covering recent cases sometimes because it just feels like, I don't know. It's not disrespectful, I guess, but it just feels like, I don't know. Maybe it would help. Maybe someone will listen to this and be like, hey, I fucking know who did it. But I mean, the fact that they burnt the vehicle and they're in Phoenix, Arizona, means they're probably over the fucking border, you know what I mean? Right by this point. Like, that's all the telltale signs of some sort of cartel involvement, you know what I mean? So I don't fucking know. If you happen to be a resident of Phoenix, Arizona, and have any information that might contribute to Ben's killers facing justice, contact the Phoenix PD's non-emergency contact number via 602-262-6151. There's a good chance this case will never be solved without help from members of the public, just like you. So please, if you have anything to offer, even the smallest shred of information, please contact the Phoenix Police Department so we can bring Fuck. Jesus Christ. Imagine, like, doing that live, how embarrassing that would be. And then I say fuck on live TV because I messed up a reading. Zara, yeah, good to see you. Or Zara. Is your last name actually Husky? Because that's kind of cool. You live in Phoenix, you don't remember hearing about this? Interesting. I guess it was in the past year. So please, if you have anything to offer, even the smallest shred of information, please contact the What is wrong with me? So please, if you have anything to offer, even the smallest shred of information, please contact the Phoenix Police Department so we can bring Ben's killers to justice. Comes all tongue-tied and twisted. I guess we're doing another true crimer. Oh, it was all over the news where you're at? Okay, interesting. Well, that's good to know. Me and Ryan Reynolds sound so much alike in the new commercial he has. That's awesome. Maybe Ryan listens to the channel. Maybe he'll send me a picture of his abdominal muscles. You have a friend in Surprise, Arizona. Surprise! Caught in 4K. They need to start catching people in 8K. That's the next level of getting catched. Now that would be bussin'. I want to see like Patrick Bateman. Ooh, now that's bussin'. Now that's bussin'. Let's see Paul Allen's Fortnite moves. The abdominal muscles. You ever hear of those? Yeah, they're on your tummy. And whenever you throw up, you can see the knobs. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe diet and exercise can achieve it too. I'm not sure though. At around 7 p.m. on New Year's Day of 2001, 15-year-old schoolgirl Katrin Konert. Fuck, this is gonna be rough. Oh, this is German, bro. I'm fucking fucked. Konert. Wait, maybe. Wait a second. Konert. Katrin Konert. Let's see Paul Allen's pussy. Core training. There's an idea of Patrick Bateman, and that idea is straight bussin'. Straight bussin'. Ooh, yeah. The abdominal muscles are behind the tummy. What about where's the gutty works? Where do they fit in? I don't think you guys know your anatomy very well. Katrin Konert was standing at the bus stop at Bergen an der Duma. Oh my god. This language is scary. This is a scary language. It's like they're yelling at me. Whenever a German sends you a message, you gotta say, keep your voice down. Duma. Get to the Duma. Dume. Bergen an der Duma. Bergen an der Duma. Let's see Paul Allen's Riz. Dude, I know Paul Allen's got some good Riz. Probably better than Patrick Bateman's. You can always be thinner. At around 7 p.m. on New Year's Day of 2011, At around 7 p.m. on New Year's Day of 2001, 15-year-old schoolgirl Katrin Konert was standing at a bus stop in Bergen an der Duma, a small German town with about 1,400 people, located 17 kilometers from her home. Katrin used to be known was a bubbly. Katrin used to be known as a bubbly, sociable girl, but over the previous year or so, friends and family had noticed a distinct change in her. Katrin had been increasingly moody, withdrawn, and rebellious, while her parents suspected her of underage smoking. This caused a number of intense arguments in the Konert household, all of which caused Katrin to openly talk about running away from home. Her father believed this was nothing but harmless teenage rebellion, the kind he too had experienced during his own youth. Yet Katrin had another secret. That New Year's Day, Katrin had told her parents that she planned to visit a school friend. In reality, she was headed for the department. Zimbabwe. I'm from the country of Zimbabwe. In reality, she was headed for the apartment of her almost 20-year-old boy. Wait, is it? Oh, 30. I see. Ruh-roh. In reality, she was headed for the apartment of her almost 30-year-old boyfriend, whose existence remained a heavily guarded secret. Upon her arrival, it's believed that Catherine acted on her desire to run away from home and asked this mystery boyfriend if she could move in with him. It's not clear exactly how this discussion went down, but given that she ended up sitting at a bus stop in the freezing cold, it's reasonable to assume that it didn't go well. We all know this because... we know all this. Oh, I see. You better have that Riz. We know all this because Catherine sent a text message to an older friend, asking if they could drive over to Bergen. One second. One fucking second. Bergen. German? Bergen. We know all this because Catherine sent a text message to an older friend, asking if they could drive her over to Bergen to give her a ride home. What is wrong with me? We know all this because Catherine sent a text message to an older friend, asking if they could drive over to Bergen to give her a ride home. The call was placed between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., but when this friend arrived to collect Catherine, she was nowhere to be seen. After she failed to arrive back home, Catherine's father suspected that she had run away, but once again assumed it was nothing but teenage pageantry and believed that she'd return home soon. But as the days went by, and Catherine still failed to return home, her father enlisted the help of local police in order to track her down. As their investigation stretched into the year 2002, police spoke with a witness who claimed that on the night of Catherine's disappearance, she'd witnessed a girl at a bus stop talking with the driver of a black BMW with Berlin license plates. This detail lined up with a later development in the case and was a piece of information that only a handful of investigators were aware of, meaning the witness in question can be considered highly reliable. For 18 years, Catherine's father personally investigated sightings of his daughter, some of which came from as far as Why is it not possible? Why is it not possible? It's just not. Why not, you stupid bastard? You stupid bastard. You're confused as heck. How come? For 18 years, Catherine's father personally investigated sightings of his daughter, some of which came from as far afield as Berlin, but as of 2018, he was forced to face the tragic possibility that Catherine had been abducted and murdered. Naturally, the first name on law enforcement's list of suspects was that of Joachim Motherfucker from Germany. Joachim, what the hell kind of name is that? Joachim van Sandraut. Naturally, the first name on law enforcement's list of suspects was that of Joachim, Catherine's considerably older boyfriend whom she'd met through a mutual acquaintance. The relationship had commenced in the months before her disappearance, and after extensive interviews and a thorough investigation, law enforcement put together the following timeline. At around 2 p.m. on New Year's Day, Catherine departed her parents under the guise of visiting her friend. A half hour later, a friend of Joachim, Senpai, you're sleepy? Well, I guess you better go outside in the cold. I sound like Sean Connery when I'm giving myself a pep talk. God damn it. Son of a bitch. God. Son of a bitch. Bastard. Son of a bitch. Son of a bastard. A half hour later, a friend of Joachim picks her up from a bus stop before driving her to his apartment, and she arrived at around 2:45 p.m., and at some point in the afternoon, the pair began viciously arguing. By 5:30 p.m., Katrin began texting friends to see if one of them could give her a ride home. Another friend of Joachim's, one named Sven, immediately volunteered to pick her up, but for some reason, Katrin refuses his offer. Just after 6 p.m., Katrin texted Katrin. Liam Neeson. What does Liam Neeson sound like? I've got a particular set of skills. Nah, it's fucking crap. I don't know how to do it. Listen to me. I've got a particular set of skills. Nah, it's not very good. I can hear it kind of in my head, but I just can't reach it. Just after 6 p.m., Katrin texted one of her sisters, asking her to inform their mother that she'd be home between in the next hour or so. Another friend of Joachim. How do these fucking names? Holy shit. Joachim. Another friend of Joachim, one named Sven, immediately volunteered to pick her up, but for some reason, Katrin refuses his offer. Just after 6 p.m., Katrin texted one of her sisters, asking her to inform their mother that she'd be home in the next hour or so. However, it's important to note that the message came from an unknown number. This wasn't entirely unusual for Katrin, as she often used her friends' phones whenever she was low on minutes or battery life. Yet given the fact that she went missing just hours later, such a detail might well be the key to uncovering Katrin's ultimate fate. Joachim later claimed that Katrin departed his apartment at exactly 1847. Joachim later claimed that Katrin's fucking God. Stick your tongue in the back of your throat. It will make Liam Neeson impression easier. I've got a particular set of skills. I can find you. I know where you're at. Ree with the tenses. You're making me giggle tonight. You're on a roll, Joel. Joel's rolls. Freshly baked. Well, thank you for the 10, Ree. Good to see you. What's poppin'? It is Joachim. I don't know. I'm on Forvo right now, and it seems to be everyone saying Joachim. Johann Joachim Winkelmann. Greetings, everyone. It's Winkelman here. Here to winkle your man. Joel's rolls holes. Throw a roll down Joel's holes. Here's Pradeep just doing sprints up and down. That's Imhotep from The Mummy, not what I meant. Imhotep, Joachim. $19 Fortnite gift card, who wants it? Love cross-stitching to your live streams. My live streams. Okay. Joachim later claimed that Katrin departed his apartment at exactly 6:47 p.m., an oddly specific time, but one corroborated by another sighting of Katrin that occurred at exactly 6:50 p.m. At exactly 7 p.m., a friend named Martin spotted Katrin waiting at the bus stop and pulled over in his car to offer her a ride. Once again, Katrin declined the offer, apparently citing his poor driving skills and the icy roads. What occurred over the next half hour or so is a complete mystery, but When the 7:30 bus arrived at the stop, Catherine had been Sorry, the writer's confusing me because they keep writing like 1930, and then I have to translate it in my head to fucking normal time. What is Deftones? I believe it's a band, right? Will there be a stream this weekend? I think perhaps. Perhaps maybe so. Yes. Definitely maybe on New Year's Eve if I ain't got anything going on. Otherwise, New Year's Day for sure. What occurred over the next half hour or so is a complete mystery. But when the 7:30 bus arrived at the... Come on, Pradeep, please, bro. What occurred over the next half hour or so is a complete mystery. But when the 7:30 bus arrived at the stop Catherine had been standing at, she was no longer there. Around this same time, Catherine's phone appeared... Dude, what the fuck? He's just like scratching the shit out of everything. He's lost his goddamn mind. It's like so stupid because it's like you think you ignore a cat, right? They would learn not to like do those particular things that they do to get your attention, even if it's negative. Not Pradeep. He just keeps going. He'll just keep scratching. What's the most not safe for work thing I've seen? Oh God, who even knows, man? There's many things back in the early days of the internet that I wish none of my friends ever showed me because they scarred me for life. Probably Big Bang Theory, though, for sure, is at the top. What occurred over the next half hour or so is a complete mystery. But when the 7:30 bus arrived at the... stop Catherine had been standing at, she was no longer there. Around this same time, Catherine's phone appeared to have been switched off, as her sister's text messages were no longer returning delivery receipts. Local police conducted an extensive investigation into Catherine's sudden and unexpected disappearance. Yet despite their efforts, they failed to make any ground whatsoever, and for 5 long years, it seemed as if her disappearance was doomed to remain unsolved. Yet in 2006, an unexpected and deeply ominous phone call reignited the investigation. One of Catherine's sisters received a call from a woman with a heavy Eastern European accent, one which simply said, "Your sister, the missing one, black BMW, Hamburg," before hanging up the phone. The call was traced to an industrial park's phone booth in the city of Nuremberg, more than 500 kilometers away, and it raised the possibility. Whoever said 2 girls, 1 cup, I'm sorry for you. That was fucking awful. Yeah, that was like my, like you guys talk about me being your comfort streamer. That was like my comfort video, to be honest. It was like, you know, it was just consistent. You could go there and you could just see 2 individuals just really loving life. You know what I mean? Just letting it all flow. Oh no, I'm thinking of Tub Girl. Actually, I mixed that up, sorry. Yeah, 2 girls, 1 cup was disgusting. The call was traced to an industrial park's phone booth in the city of Nuremberg, more than 500 kilometers away, and it raised the possibility that Katrin had fallen victim to human traffickers. Police also discovered a prepaid phone card had been used to place the calls, one that had also been used to place calls to a deactivated UK mobile number. The other 2 calls went to a Berlin-based homicide detective and a business consultant in Hamburg, but neither person picked up their phones. All went quiet again for another 11 years until an even more sinister clue appeared in the same place she disappeared from. In 2017, chalk graffiti was found in the same bus stop that Katrin went missing from, stating that... One second, man. He just won't stop. He brought a little ball downstairs. My mom got him a bag of like little mouse balls. And even though I wanted him to keep them elsewhere, he just was like, hey, let me fucking bring him down. Seems like he could really use some little pieces of fabric with a fucking bell in it during the stream. Joel, are you wearing flip-flops? Not right now, I'm just wearing normal. I'm wearing my Brooks. I'm ready to rock and roll. He loves his new toys. He does. Oh my god. Whoever wrote this, I'll get to it in a second, but it's so fucking funny. Alright. Son of a bitch. All went quiet. Okay, yes. In 2017. But let me just, So it says, abused and murdered by Busser. Wait. And it says that's Busser, not Bussy, because it's spelled B-U-S-S-E. Oh my god. Got them Gucci flip-flops. I'm taking a piss, I got codeine coming out. Alright, what the fuck? Stating that Katrin had been kidnapped, abused, and murdered by Busser. Jägern? What? What is this saying? Jägern? Jagern? What? Let me just read this sentence. In 2000... Thanks, Rob, for the 2. In 2017, chalk graffiti was found on the same bus stop that Katrin went missing from, stating that Katrin had been kidnapped, abused, and murdered by Busser. And it says plus Jägern. Oh, chalk graffiti, okay. Alright, sorry. It took me a second to put that in my head. Went missing at the Bussy stop. Don't we all? Don't we all? In 2017, chalk graffiti was found on the same bus stop that Katrin went missing from, stating that Katrin had been kidnapped, abused, and murdered by Busser plus Jägern. Now, Katrin's last name had been misspelled. Now, Katrin's last name had been misspelled as Konat, but it was quite clearly a reference to her abduction. Joachim remained a person of interest in the case, as he was one of the last people to see her alive, but following an extensive search of his home, the police were forced to practically rule out the possibility of him being responsible. He also seemed genuinely devastated that Katrin had disappeared, sentiment that was never doubted by any of Katrin's friends. Some of her mutual friends remained close with Joachim for years after, and if he had any involvement in his young girlfriend's disappearance, he certainly hid it well. Given Joachim's... Let me make sure I'm saying that fucking right. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Joachim. Given that Joachim's apparent innocence, police were forced to consider other suspects, including a friend of Catherine's named Christian. Christian was one of the people Catherine asked for a ride for that. Christian was one of the people Catherine asked for a ride that night, and at around 6:50 p.m., he and his girlfriend saw Catherine walking past the church while exiting a pizza restaurant in Bergen on der Dum. Fuck. Bergen an der Dum. Bergen an der Dum. Duma. Bergen an der Duma. Christian was one of the people Catherine asked for a ride that night, and at around 6:50 p.m., he and his girlfriend saw Catherine walking past the church while exiting a pizza restaurant in Bergen an der Duma, and had greeted her whilst driving past. After dropping his girlfriend off at her place, Christian stopped at a local petrol station, then turned around and drove back to Catherine's direction. Incidentally, he also drove along the route Catherine would have taken. Sheila E., welcome to the Buttersock Cult, my friend. You now have access to bonus content, sorry. Welcome, and thank you. Butter dog with the butter. Bonus dog with the bonus. Which story are we on? I think we're on story 4. After dropping his girlfriend off at her place, Christian stopped at a local gas station, then turned around and drove back in Catherine's direction. Incidentally, he also drove along the route Catherine would have taken had she decided to make the long trek home instead of catching the bus. Christian claimed he returned to his girlfriend's apartment at around 9 p.m. and that she could provide an alibi for him, but he still remained a person of interest all these years later. Another person of interest is Sven, Joachim's friend who Catherine first turned down a ride from. He claimed to have spent the afternoon with friends and had offered to drive Catherine home at around 5:40 p.m., yet Sven also claimed that at approximately 6:40 p.m., Catherine texted him again, asking him to pick her up at 7 p.m. from Joachim's apartment. Catherine's phone records confirm that she had indeed called Sven again a few minutes later, but it remains unclear what was said. On top of that, some of the details in Sven's account of that evening just don't add up. For example, he claims to have ordered a pizza using his girlfriend's phone shortly before 7 p.m., but there's no record of any such call having been placed. Additionally, although Sven claims to have returned to his friends with the pizza, their account. Am I a top or a ravenous bottom? Just absolutely ravenous. Cannot get enough of being on the lower bunk bed. Are you talking about bunk beds? Top or bottom bunk bed? I feel like I would have to be a ravenous bottom because it's safer down there. It's closer to earth. And I'm just like a really grounded individual, you know what I mean? What's a power bottom? Okay, what's a power bottom? Is that like someone who's on the bottom bunk and they just like taking their feet and they're kicking the top bunk, just like waking up their older brother, probably, maybe little brother, I don't know. What are you guys? The bottom bunk gets peed on? What? Who? Why? You just sleep there and people just use you as a toilet or something? What the fuck's going on? I guess if your little brother is up there or something and he pisses himself, it's gonna be dripping down like a bunch of fucking stalagmites. I never liked climbing up to the top bunk of a bed because, well, first off, it is high up there and it's pretty cool. And if they have like a ceiling fan, you could hit your fucking head. But I always feel like whoever made the ladders for bunk beds, they never made them fucking uncomfortable. Like, they always were just super uncomfortable, and like it just felt like it was like, because your feet would be bare or have socks on, and it would just either be like super fucking slippery, so it's like you're fucking hanging on like Highlander, or it's like, if it's metal, it's like digging into your shit, giving you fucking tetanus. Additionally, although Sven claims to have returned to his friends with the pizza, their account differs entirely. Sven claimed that he drove home at around 7:30 p.m., passing the bus stop but not seeing any trace of Katrin. Then the next confirmed sighting of him was at 8:45 p.m., and when he met up with his girlfriend what is this fucking sentence? Jesus Christ. Sven claimed that he drove home at around 7:30 p.m., passing the bus stop but not seeing any trace of Katrin. Then the next confirmed sighting of him was at 8:45 p.m., when he met up with his girlfriend at a local bar. This leaves quite a sizable gap in his timeline for the evening, one he struggled to explain to police officers. But still, despite arguably being the most likely suspect, Sven was never brought to trial. Another friend of Katrin's, a guy named Martin, was also considered a person of interest for a brief time. Martin is the young man with the poor driving skills who spotted Katrin while she was waiting at the bus stop. He confirmed that Katrin had refused his offer of a ride, but then claimed to have continued his drive to his girlfriend's place before arriving at around 8 p.m. This completely contradicts his girlfriend's account, who remembers him arriving after she had already been watching a TV show which started at 8:15 p.m. The drive from the bus stop to our apartment would have only taken less than 2 minutes, so again, this is a significant period of time that has simply not been accounted for. Martin's girlfriend later claimed that her phone was tapped as part of the investigation, and she also claimed that he'd refused to have his car searched by police, agreeing only after it had been thoroughly cleaned. As it stands, there are a number of theories vying for dominance. The first and most likely is that Katrin was picked up and murdered by either Sven or Martin, while the second purports that she tried to hitchhike and was killed by whoever stopped by to give her a ride. But then again, there's compelling evidence to suggest that she wasn't killed, and that Katrin Konert became the victim of a shadowy but powerful group of human traffickers. Law enforcement have since stated that they're open to such a possibility, as human traffickers groups are insidiously active in Central Europe. They have also refused to rule out the possibility of Katrin being the victim of a serial killer who is currently incarcerated in a German prison. Yet perhaps the most interesting development occurred in November of 2018, when police received an anonymous call with what they referred to as interesting information. The only information they've given away is that the caller spoke of the location of Katrin's body, and given that the police have publicly pleaded with the caller to get in touch again, it's safe to say that the call is made for a very important development. It's been 4 years since the case's last point of major progress, and Katrin's corpse is likely to reveal many more clues to the identity of her killer. We might well discover what happened to Katrin Konert in the next couple of years, and if there was ever a true crime case to keep checking up on for the foreseeable future, it's definitely this one. The German police really do seem to be on the cusp of finding Katrin's body and cracking the case wide open. But when they do, the implications could be as disturbing as they are far-reaching. Bottom bunk has better handholds, though. Yeah, I guess you could, I remember you could reach up and use the frame of the bed above you almost like monkey bars. That was pretty sick. I just feel like top bunk is like a little bit of a commitment, you know what I mean? Like, you got to make sure that you have shit and pissed and all the good stuff and gotten your glass of water, because if you're coming down from the top bunk, you really got to come down. It's like a whole fucking, like, it's like disembarking, you know what I mean, for Everest. Like, you got to be ready to go. Yeah, no tourism in Germany. You a booze guy? If so, whiskey or rum? I'm not a booze guy, but rum sounds like way better than whiskey to me. I don't know, it just sounds like more piratey. I've had good whiskey before. The peanut butter whiskey is good, but something about rum just seems more palatable. You gotta be the responsible party. If you're in the top bunk, you can piss out the window. What I do is, like, if I'm on the top bunk and there's like an oscillating ceiling fan, I'll just have multiple cups full of piss, and every time the oscillating ceiling fan passes by, you gotta quickly put that cup onto the fan to kind of like, for storage. So in the morning, your mother stops the fan and she's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cups of piss. Impressive. You didn't even wet the bed. But then it cuts to like your older brother and it's just like dripping down on his face. Just want to express my appreciation for your stories, voice, time, and dedication. Thank you. You're welcome, Britt. Thank you. Palatable. Is that right? Let me check the palatable. I don't want to sound like a fool. Acceptable to the taste. Yeah, I was right. Okay, good. I'm not a complete fool. All right, let's do this thing. I don't drink anymore, but rum was in my drink of choice. It was interesting. I was watching that, like, there's this like famous what do you call him? Like neurobiologist or something like that. Rob with the 2. Shout out to Granny and that ravenous bussy content. Oh yeah, I missed it. Sorry. Granny, your friendly internet grandma, welcome back for 8 whole months in the Buttersock Cult. Says happy holiday, lovelies. Hope you're all having a super one. Thank you, Grandma. Good to see you. Sorry I missed that earlier. And Rob, thank you for reminding me. Ravenous bottom bussy. All right. Anyways, that neurobiologist or whatever, he was basically saying, like, even if you drink, like, not that frequently, it was really weird. It was like, even if you don't, you might have like a wine a night, or like a couple wines every couple of nights or something like that. Even less than that. It was like a surprisingly small amount of alcohol. It just like showed that your stress response in the absence of alcohol was like substantially higher than someone who just doesn't drink at all, really, or drinks very infrequently. Like your presence of like cortisol. So it's almost like, I don't know, I think that almost like indicates in some way just like the insidious nature that is alcoholism. You know what I mean? Where even when you don't even realize that you could potentially be going into a sort of addictive process, or addictive cycle, and then like potential withdrawal symptoms, like even on like a smaller level, it's like seems to be possible. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. It seemed interesting. I don't know the specifics, but the specifics. Hey, Butters, take care. It creates cortisol. I don't think it creates cortisol, but like your body, so your body creates cortisol, and like in the absence of alcohol, after, you know, say it's been 24 hours since your last drink or something like that, cortisol seems to be more present in the bloodstream, which is the stress hormone. And I don't know, it would seem to have some indication that like your body is stressed because it's, you know, it's creating that sort of addictive cycle back and forth with needing alcohol. Am I East or West Coast? I'm on the East Coast, East Side. But even though I say that, much respect to all the other various coasts and sides. Can we get much higher? So I built stairs for my kid's bunk bed that was also a dresser. Every step had a pull-out drawer. That's fucking sweet. Mad respect to that. That's cool as hell. God's drunkest driver greater than God's most gullible pedestrian. What were you doing in the road? Cortisol is responsible for fight or flight too. I don't know if it's responsible, but I think that's epinephrine or norepinephrine. Yeah, epinephrine, the adrenaline or whatever. The One Piece is real. Worst thing I ever saw as a mortician was working trauma nights on general surgery. It was New Year's Eve of all nights, and we had a teen brought in who had been shot a grand total of 9 times. Someone had accidentally hosed him down with bullets after some celebratory midnight gunfire went wrong. We ran the code, did everything up to and including a thoracotomy. Jesus, some of these stories tonight are just so abstractly... We ran the code, did everything up to and including a thoracotomy, which is when a surgeon opens up the chest to access his heart. But sadly, he still passed away. Afterwards, I was sitting outside the trauma bay writing the note, with janitorial staff cleaning the trauma bay of all the blood and debris. And then, a full 9 minutes after the end of the code and calling it, our shooting victim sits up on the table. I'm talking a full sit-up, still covered in the tarp, and belts out this loud, guttural groan. I've seen dead bodies do some crazy, crazy stuff in my years, but this Walking Dead act actually scared the life out of me. This meant the janitorial staff either soiled themselves, and I mean one actually soiled themselves, or passed out, and yes, the other actually passed out. Doctors and nurses all ran back into restarted the code, even got some pulseless electrical activity, but again, the story still ends with him flatlining right there on the table. There are lots of theories about it, what it actually was, either the Lazarus effect or just spontaneous diaphragmatic spasm. The only doctor who might have actually been able to ID the phenomenon said that he'd need to actually see it to really know what it was, so the moment was lost. Or maybe the docs did figure it out and just didn't tell me. Either way, still the creepiest and saddest moment of my career so far. Can we get more higher? So I'm gonna soil myself. Joel is pretty smart. Am I? I don't know about that. Smart ass, am I right? Yeah. Okay. Story numero 60. Way back when I just left college, I was working this crappy service job in the city with my girlfriend of 2 years. We'd spent our second Christmas together and all had been great, but for New Year's, she was planning on traveling back to Delaware to party with some close friends and family. Work wanted me to work that New Year's Eve, and we needed the money so bad that I couldn't turn it down, but the silver lining was that I'd be able to crash a party or two after getting off of work around 1 a.m. So, I worked the shift, we're done by 12:40 a.m., and then me and a few coworkers hit up this party that we'd been planning on attending. It was a pretty good party, located in an old factory that had been converted into an art studio. The main shared living space was where the main festivities were at, but then groups had occupied different rooms or apartments was... what? Lynn with the 2 says, "Missed ya, Jolie Polly. Gotta work and make the bread." Okay. Take care. Get that. Acquire that cheese. The cheese. Acquire the cheese, we must. What happened to the push-ups? Well... it's like having to work out every day. It's kind of hard to make sure that I'm 100% for both either the push-ups here or whatever chest stuff I have to do in the workout. And so I kind of pulled back on the push-ups in stream. Make Joel twerk. Make Joel twerk again. MJTA. Midgeta. We all need Midgeta hats. The main shared living space was where the main festivities were at. But when groups had occupied different rooms or apartments with this chill open door policy going on... what is this saying? The main shared living space was where the main festivities were at. But then, groups had occupied different rooms or apartments with this chill open door policy going on, so you could just walk... okay. One of those guys who only works out chest. No, that's incorrect, actually. I do all of the body parts, including the phlenics. The main shared living space was where the main festivities were at, but then groups had occupied different rooms or apartments with this chill open door policy going on, so you could just wander around and explore. At some point during the party, I got talking to this girl, and although there was a little harmless flirting, I was obviously very happy in my relationship, and I had no intention of acting on the attraction. I actually mentioned the fact that I was taken once or twice just to kind of politely lay down the law a little so she'd keep the vibe all platonic. But then, as I'm leaving, I figured I'd at least say bye since we'd had such a nice time together. She seems to come in for a hug, so I reciprocate, but then she pulls back a little and tries to kiss me. I obviously felt like an idiot, since I'd totally given the girl the wrong idea in hanging out with her all night. I just figured that I hadn't been clear enough about having a girlfriend, so I pull away from her, and that's the first thing I say. "I'm so sorry, I have a girlfriend. I think you're awesome, and I would so date you, but I already am spoken for, blah blah blah." Stuff to let her down gently, you know. I've never been particularly popular with girls, so being in that situation to begin with was just kinda overwhelming. But then, instead of just being like, "Oh, okay, sorry," or whatever the girl was all like, "I don't care," or whatever. Oh, I see. Ash M with the 2.
Thank you so much for that. I very much appreciate it. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Bro got Riz. He got Riz with that jizz. I don't know. But then, instead of just being like, oh, okay, sorry, or whatever, the girl was like, I don't care, then went in for a kiss again. That time, she was super aggressive about it and lunged forward so hard that she almost made lip contact. I then pushed her away, kind of annoyed that she just completely ignored my wishes, and then me and my coworker leave the party and just catch an Uber together. The whole ride, he's making jokes sarcastically like, oh god, I feel for you, dude. I can't imagine how tough it must be to have a girl be so into you. And by the time it was my stop, I was actually feeling better about the whole thing. The one mistake I made was not just straight up telling my girlfriend about it once she got home. I figured that there was no point agitating her over something that she couldn't do anything about, so I just kept my mouth shut. So I just kept my mouth shut. Phallus pumps, just hang a towel on it and do reps. I prefer the cock push-ups. The cock is a muscle, and it must be worked out. Rizzy Jizzy. Damn, he got that Rizzy Jizzy. He's the Jizzler. I figured that there was no point agitating her over something that she couldn't do anything about, so I just kept my mouth shut and forgot about the whole thing. Then, a few days later, I was sleeping after work, a late shift, when my girl... Then, a few days later, I was sleeping after working a late shift when my girlfriend woke me up with this half-angry, half-anxious look on her face. Immediately, I'm all, what's up, babe? What's wrong? But she just focuses on doing something on her phone. My phone then buzzes, and she tells me to check the picture that she just sent me. I'm still super confused as to what she's talking about, but I know something is very, very wrong, so I'm actually pretty nervous as I unlock my phone to check out what she'd sent me. It was a picture message, a screenshot actually, of a Facebook Messenger message someone had sent her, and as I read through, my jaw dropped open and my eyes just about popped out of my head. The message was very long, and I'm not going to pretend I can remember exactly what it said, but the long and the short of it was, the message was supposed to be from a girl, an underage girl, who I'd tried to assault at a New Year's Eve party. This girl claimed to have looked me up through Facebook in order to report me to the cops, but after finding me, she decided to give my girlfriend a heads up about what a monster I was. I start telling my girlfriend I have no idea what this girl is talking about, but she somehow takes my denials as a weird kind of admission, like, why would she just make this up? Make this make sense. Oh, whoops. I start telling my girlfriend that I have no idea what this girl is talking about, but she somehow takes my denials as a weird kind of admission, like, why would she just make this up? Make this make sense for me? The only thing I could think of in that moment, still being half asleep, was that it was some kind of cruel prank by an internet troll or something. But then as I was racking my brain, it clicked. New Year's Eve party. Why bring that up unless it was the girl I'd turned down trying to get back at me? I tried to explain what had happened, but that time, it all just sounded like I was trying to make excuses, and my girlfriend was panicking so hard that she just couldn't listen to reason. I had to actually sit there with the cops on speakerphone, explain the situation to the relevant parties, and get them to verbally state on the call that no such complaint had been lodged against me by anyone, let alone some underage girl. Only then did she actually calm down enough to realize how inconsistent the fake girl's account was, and how it actually kind of lined up with my own story of this crazy girl. This crazy, crazy girl. This girl's so freaking crazy. Oh my gosh. Crazy, crazy. You could do sit-ups since you don't have to rest abs. I guess I could. I'm not very good at sit-ups, but I guess I should probably get good at them. I do have an ab mat. It'd be kind of a weird one to listen to me do, but And what if I fart? That'd be so embarrassing. Only then did she actually calm down enough to realize how inconsistent the fake girl's account was, and how it actually kinda lined up with my own story of this crazy girl not taking no for an answer, then being super angry when I left the party without kissing her. After that, I finally got the vindication I deserved, as my girlfriend spent the whole remainder of the week baking apology apple pie or ordering me forgive me fried chicken. She didn't need to, and I wasn't even really mad at her because I understood how scary of a situation it was, and how a message like that could cause someone to Farts are natural? I don't know about that. I think they're from the devil. I think farts are actually demons coming out of your asshole. And that they must be exorcised by pushing on your stomach. She didn't need to, and I wasn't even really mad at her because I understood how scary a situation it was and how a message like that could cause someone to trusting and... What is it? You farted 5 times with your trainer one day? Yeah, at that point I feel like you're just showing off. Alright, how a message like that could cause someone too trusting and loyal to doubt me. Oh, so trusting. Okay. She didn't need to, and I wasn't even really mad at her because I understood how scary of a situation it was, and how a message like that could cause someone so trusting and loyal to doubt me for an hour or two. This is right at the start of the hashtag #MeToo as well, a time when some of Americans' most beloved celebrities were being revealed as perverts, which they were. And if America's dad is capable of something so horrifying, then there was no reason to think I couldn't do something similar. At least, that was the mood at the time. I guess... You're talking about Bill Cosby, Jesus Christ. At least, that was the mood at the time. I guess I actually could have been angry at her if I wanted to, but I was just relieved that the whole thing could be confirmed as a hoax, that it didn't play on my mind too much, that my girlfriend hadn't backed me up from the get-go. I guess accusations like that are scary for everyone, not just the people who are actually accused. The devil's pussy. The devil's pussy. The dussy. The devilacy. The devilacy. Ah, oh, shit. I read once that Pythagoras thought you'd lose some of your soul each time you fart. Imagine Pythagoras like coming into the future and reading that about himself, and he's like, what the fuck? Was this Jim? Did Jim write this about me? What a fucking dick. Just make shit up for future people and they're just gonna think we're fucking idiots. And remember, if you're getting bussy, women are not your biggest problem. I don't get it. I love this family in South Park. They're all giving each other the finger at the dinner table. Welcome to Hey Dussy. You are falling into the abyss. Alright, I think this is the last story of the evening. Pythagoras had a whole weird sex cult, no cap. Now that I believe. That's something I can get on board with. And if you farted that orgy, your soul is mine. Way back in 2005, me and a few friends were taking a cab from a New Year's Eve party. Well, that sounded weird. Way back in 2005, me and a few friends were taking a cab back from a New Year's Eve. Fuck me. Walking out. Way back in 2005, me and a few friends were taking a cab back from a New Year's Eve. I keep saying Eve. Jesus crap. Way back in 2005, me and a few friends were taking a cab back from a New Year's party. We were just totally blasted, singing the Eagles' fight song at the top of our lungs when, I swear to God, end up right behind this one car, the only other one we'd seen for miles, and it was a Giants bumper sticker. We tell our cab driver that we'll tip him $100 if he just pulls up alongside the Giants fan and cruises for long enough for us to open up a whole case of verbal whoop-ass. I'm gonna say carnage because I'm a baby and I hate bad words. I fucking hate them. Pythagoreans also couldn't touch beans, which actually led to death, so take that as you will. What? Holy shit. It's all making sense. Wonder if they just didn't eat at all to minimize gaseous output. We tell our cab driver that we'll tip him $100 if he just pulls up alongside the Giants fan, then cruises for long enough for us to open up a whole case of verbal carnage on him. Now, being a fellow Eagles fan, our driver obliges us. But then as we're getting level with the Giants fan, we see the driver's side window roll down before the Giants fan, or at least the poor unlucky soul enough to... What? Also, this sounds like fucking Eagles fans right here. Somebody likes another team than me, I better kill them. What did I say, Giants fans? Eagles fans? Yeah, sounds like Eagles fans. Dude, Eagles fans are fucking insane, dude. Actually crazy people. But then as we're getting level with the Giants fan, we see the driver's side window roll down before the Giants fan, or at least the poor soul unlucky enough to be driving with that sticker, starts throwing a bunch of paper out of the window. My buddy Shane calls out, "Look, he's dropping weight trying to get away. Faster, boys, faster." And we all laugh, not realizing that the paper flying out of the window might have indicated that someone was actually wrong. We all laugh, not realizing that the paper flying out of the window might have actually indicated that something was wrong, aside from the guy being a Giants fan. But then as we actually drew level with the car and got a good look inside, the whole atmosphere in our cab just totally shifted. The people in the car were... Okay, I see they're doing a list. Does this story take place in Ohio? No, it's probably Philadelphia or something like that. You thought it was the band, the Eagles? The band, the Eagles, and the Giants are going head to head. Who's got the coolest band? We all laugh, not realizing that the paper flying out of the window might have indicated that someone... What's wrong with me? We all laugh, not realizing that the paper flying out of the window might have indicated that something was actually wrong, aside from the guy being a Giants fan. But then is actually... Dude, I'm dyslexic by the end of this shit. But then as we actually drew level with the car and got a good look inside, the whole atmosphere in our cab just totally shifted. The people in the car were a man driving, with a woman in the passenger seat, and both the... The people in the car were a man driving, with a woman in the passenger seat, and both looked to be in their 50s, and they might have been a couple, but we couldn't be sure. The dude is right, but while he is, he's just... What is it saying? The dude is right? The dude is right. But while he is... What does that say? Hotel California. The dude is right, but while he is, he's just throwing these absolute power... What is it saying? The dude is right. What is that? What phrase is that? The dude is right, but while he is, he's just throwing these absolute power punches at... Oh, I see. Yikes. Wait, why is he right? I don't understand what's going on. Is he to the right of something? You're not smelling burnt toast. I feel like it from some of this grammar, dude. Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck is being said. Dude is slang for price. He ain't left. Yeah, I don't know. The dude is right, but while he is... What is it saying? The dude is right, but while he is... Like, is he right about punching the woman in the face? Like, what the fuck? Now, granted, he's got a point. Like, what the fuck is this saying? The dude is right, but while he is, he's just throwing these absolute... I don't even know how to edit this to make any motherfucking sense. The dude is right, but while he is, he's just throwing these absolute power punches at the woman while she sat right next to him. It was honestly like time just stood still for a few minutes as we got level and as the mood in the cab went from raucous to dead quiet in just a few seconds. Ask the Holy Spirit to teach me and guide me. Well, I wish the Holy Spirit would fix this fucking story. I don't know what's being said. The dude is right. But well, okay, is there another word that rhymes with right that they may have meant to type? The dude is night. The dude is light. Cursing is a sin. Repent or perish. Cursing. Curses! Curses unto ye. Oh, the dude is driving. Okay, that makes actual sense. Sorry, I don't know. I think God has already cursed my brain with... Because I've been swearing so much tonight, he made me dumber. The dude is tight. Yeah, he's probably like really cool and tight. The dude is driving, but while he is, he's just throwing these absolute power punches at the woman while she sat right next to him. It was honestly like time just stood still for a few moments as we got level, as the mood in the cab went from raucous to dead quiet in just a few seconds. I'm not exactly sensitive to violence, no one in that cab was, but good God. Seeing a woman just getting wailed on like that and not even fighting back or anything, it made my blood run cold. None of us actually knew what to do for a couple of seconds. It's not like we could just ask our driver to run the guy off the road or whatever, but what we could do is at least let him know that we could see and that we'd be calling the cops to report him or something. So then, well, keeping at a speed of maybe 50 to 55, we rolled down to the right side of... We rolled down all the... Yeah, it's a tight bussy is what they're trying to say. The dude is bussied up. Oh, the dude is right in front. Yeah, that might have been... Oh, fucking no. It doesn't matter anymore. Ruckus or raucous? I think it's raucous. Whatever. Matt Lopez with the 5 says, thank you for saving me from my boring job for a whole year. You're welcome, Matt. Thank you for the 5. Isn't it crazy? 2022 is done, and now we enter the hellscape. So then, while keeping at a speed of maybe 50 to 55, we roll down all the right side windows of the car and just start screaming at the dude. F off. We got you on camera. You're going to jail. Stuff like that. The guy obviously spots us, and for a few sweet seconds, he actually stopped hitting his wife. but it was only to reach into his glove box or something to grab a gun, which he starts waving in our direction. Our driver sees this, then slows down really fast to put some distance between the two cars. We think the driver is just thinking like, screw this, I'm out, but he keeps going, keeping the other car at the edges of his headlights while telling us to call the cops. I'm the founder of the Church of Cosmic Cat. That's the only prayer I need. I don't know why people, I don't know. It's weird. It's, you kind of wonder, like, what the psychology is behind, like, preaching religion. You know what I mean? Because, like, I did a lot of church stuff growing up, but even whenever I was in church, I was always just like too embarrassed to like, go and kind of push shit on people, you know what I mean? It just never, like, even from reading, the Bible, it just didn't make sense for me to like be rude to people and like tell them that, like, point out their flaws and then say, because of this flaw, you therefore must join my religion to fix all your flaws. It's just, that's like not how you communicate with other human beings, you know what I mean? And it's really strange to me when people kind of do that, because I just don't know what's going through their mind. I mean, granted, I don't know who's on the other side of a screen, you know what I mean? Could be anybody. Could be Mussolini, for all I know, guys. Could be a really bad guy. Could be Joel Osteen with a cute smile. Am I ready for Jehovah's return? That Jehovah, see? According to old Nostradamus, you are correct with that sentence. What is he saying? What's he saying is going to happen? I will determine if he's correct. I have to think it's a mix of showmanship and faith. Yeah, the showmanship part's stupid, because I think it reminds me a little bit of like some people I've known who like really want to be the one to say, I told you so, like as if though at some point in their life they're just going to be in some celestial paradise, and then they get to look down at you in damnation and be like, see, I told you in your stream you should have stopped saying bussy and you could have got up here where we got fucking lots and lots of bussy. fresh from the orchard. The Jehovah Witness, yeah. To follow a guy with a gun in the middle of beating his wife took balls, and honestly, if it was me driving, I don't know if I'd have had it in me to drive after them. I was in the back left of the car, shrunk down in my seat to keep low, and every minute I'm expecting the guy ahead of us to stick his gun out the window and start shooting, but our cab driver basically forced me into doing the right thing. And for that, he's kind of a hero to me, to be honest. Me and my buddies did the work. We did the work. Together we pressed all. I pressed 9, my friend pressed 1, and he pressed 1. Me and my buddies did the work of calling 911, tracking our location and getting all the necessary info to the cops. Then after maybe 10 to 15 minutes of driving, we saw the first lights of a cop car in the distance and knew that our poop. Then, after maybe 10 to 15 minutes of driving, we saw the first lights of a cop car in the distance, and we knew that that was our cue to dip. We pulled over to the side of the road just to catch our breath, and by that, I mean we chain-smoked cigarettes with the cab driver while we kept his hazard lights on. My heart was just pounding, and the adrenaline came with a sense of absolute victory, since we could be pretty certain that the guy got pulled over and put into cuffs. The cab driver basically turned off the meter after that, saying we helped him do the right thing and that we were some alright guys. We all tipped him huge afterwards, collectively agreeing on $50 each, and we all look back on it as somehow one of the scariest but most exciting nights of our whole lives in Philadelphia. Shabuya. Shabuya. Roll call. It's real working pressing. It is. It's tough. It's tough stuff. You need all your boys hovered over your shoulder to. Okay, you press. What button do we press? 9, dude. 9. What next? Okay, my mom did this once when Dad went nuts. Oh, 1. Okay, 1. What after that though? Oh, fuck. What was it? 1. Press 1. Okay, now what do we do? And then the cab driver's like, press fucking send, you dumb idiots. Jesus Christ. Two. Press 2. No. But it was too late. I dialed 912. And then it calls the guy in the other fucking car. Hello? Hi, we have an emergency? What the fuck are you talking about? There's a man in front of us with a gun. Yeah, that's me, you fucking idiots. Alright, my friends. Let's read the outro script. Somebody think of something funny. Okay. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and super fun live streams on Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, the bussy is straight bussin'. Oh my god. Should I leave that in there? David De La Rosa with the 1. Thank you, David. And David, thank you for the super thanks on the videos. I always appreciate that. I think Lynn does it. Various others do it. Not saying you have to, but I do very much appreciate it. Bottom bunk or position? In case of emergencies, dial 912 for a change. yeah, switch it up a little bit. I'm sick of the normal 911 shit. Like, they're always like responding to fucking problems and bullshit like that. Like, what's 912 up to? What do they do? I could see that being like a creepypasta. You know, you go to Mr. Creep's YouTube channel, it's like, I accidentally dialed 912. In like the white and red lettering with... Honestly, I never really liked that thumbnail style of like the white and red lettering. Because like the art that's in the background is fucking cool as shit. But for some reason the white and red lettering just like kind of deters from it a little bit. Thanks, Let's Readers, for a bustacular night. You're welcome. And Beast Kid, thank you for this. Says Happy New Year, you filthy animals. Thank you, Beast Kid. Yeah, I hope everyone has a good New Year. I will let you know if I'm streaming on the New Year. the 31st, which is, I guess, technically tomorrow. But otherwise, I will get this edited and up, ready to rock and roll on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. And then it'll be up on YouTube at 7 p.m. EST today. Stay tuned for that. Always appreciate watching it when it comes out, so hit that notification bell if you would be so kind. It also, will notify you for new streams. But also you can follow me at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter. For all the sick-ass tweets I put out, and then also to keep you up to date when new streams are happening. Because sometimes, YouTube just not in the mood to let you know because of the algorithm or whatever the fuck. But, yes. Thank you again, guys. And yeah, I'll let you know if I'm streaming for New Year's Eve. Keep you posted over there on the Bird site. But otherwise, have a good night, my friends, or day, wherever you are on this big, greenish, bluish, whitish, sometimes desert-colored ball. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.